Hey guys!
Welcome to SIP. So we are Footnote Society's stand-up directors,
April.
And Alfred, and this is the Footnote stand-up podcast.
Very exciting. Since lockdown has interrupted the flow of new stand-up content, we thought this would be the perfect way to scratch that comedy itch.
Yes, we will be covering a variety of topics, all centred around imparting our stand-up knowledge onto you, our wonderful listeners. But mostly we'll just be trying to have a laugh.
Exactly.
So keep listening to SIP, the Footnote stand-up podcast.
Drink timer is set for today's podcast.
That's the first time we've actually managed to set it like at the beginning of the podcast.
I'm learning.
Well, you know, it's getting tighter and tighter every week. The podcast is getting, more snappy. This is the third week of SIP. We've done it for 3 times now.
Brilliant.
What great maths I've
Fantastic
got there.
observation, yeah.
You know, I'm some kind of math magician. On today, we've got some wonderful guests. We've actually got 2 guests today.
We have very special guests. I would love to introduce them. So we have today the lovely, the legendary Danny Roberts and Lucy Clark. Hi, guys.
Hi.
For those of you listening who don't know, Lucy Clark was president last year of Footnotes, and Danny has been in both of the last 2 Fringe shows that went out, which is fantastic. How are you guys? Have you had a good week?
Yeah, it's been all right.
Yeah, it's been reading week, hasn't it?
Yeah, so the classic need to be productive this week, but you never get enough done.
Yeah, But they're calling it a well-being week now, so we're using that as our excuse, really.
Yeah, so binge watching is well-being.
I feel like well-being is surely conjures less work than reading, to be honest.
Oh, for sure. Well-being has nothing to do with work.
What are you guys drinking for today's podcast? I thought we'd jump straight into it. I think we need to...
I was going to say the same thing
it.
after the words out of my mouth.
Great minds.
Yeah.
Would you like to go first?
Okay. Well, I'm currently sat here drinking a can of Carlsberg. Not because I'm straight, because I'm not. They're very cheap, and over the last few years of uni, I've just trained myself to like beer because I know it's the cheapest thing to like. So here I am with my little 4-pack of Carlsbergs for the eve.
What about you, Lucy?
I'm drinking Strongbow, which is a cider. So it's not very well known that it's a cider, apparently. It's basically because I really fancy some wine, but I was like, if I get wine drunk, I get gobby. And I just like, that's not good for a podcast, is it? No, so I'm on the old Strongbow, and it's...
That's
Absolutely.
the Strongbow. Do you guys remember the Strongbow advert with the archer that comes out of the clouds? Don't know why, but that advert gives me chills whenever I watch it.
I think you need to get out more, Alfred.
You're a marketing student's dream.
April, what are you drinking?
I'm doing my usual, Alfred. I'm going for the Bombay Sapphire gin. I know, bougie.
Yeah, it's classy, but my mum hates Bombay Sapphire. My mum hates it, so...
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it's good she's not on the podcast right now.
Yeah.
No, but you should have her on it. She's quite jokes.
It'd be a tenuous connection, I feel. So I am drinking some wine. I've got...
Nondescript.
What colour? What type?
It's the wrong choice. It's red wine. Red wine melts me. Luckily, I drank half of it yesterday, so then I don't get fully drunk on it today, which is great.
Brilliant. If you've got any left over, you can put it in a chili con carne.
Oh, fantastic. I might do that. It's called Casillero del Diablo, which I think means
That's a good
castle
one. Something about
the devil. What's percentage is it? 13.5. Fantastic.
Red wine's a killer, isn't it?
I'm glad that I ate very recently, so I should be okay.
Yeah, we've just had tea, to be fair. Danny had a chili con carne.
It's on my mind.
He's promoing
Really?
chili con carne.
Yeah, do you want some? I can drop it around.
Actually, do you know what? That'd be nice. I had a shit dinner.
What did you have for dinner, April? Because you were like, it was shit.
It was shit. Emphasis on shit. It was an Aldi microwave meal. It's already going wrong. That doesn't exactly scream culinary masterpiece, does
Don't
it?
say that. The carbonara from Aldi is exquisite.
Really?
The taste of Italy.
Yeah, no, this definitely wasn't well, obviously it was actually a curry, so it'd be confusing if it was a Taste of Italy, but it was like a fake chicken,
I mean, you
fake
never
chicken
know.
masala, something. I tried to make my own naan bread, which basically involved me putting a pizza in a pan with some butter and fucking garam masala or whatever, and it obviously didn't taste good.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah,
You just found a bread that looks like the bread you're trying to make.
I'm actually a very good cook. I'm saying that humbly.
That's like cutting a perfect cylinder out of some loaf of bread and being like, "I've made a baguette." Like it's
Yeah.
the same thing.
April, are you sure you don't want chili con carne?
Just push it through the letterbox, please. I'm
Oh,
fucking
that's
starving.
disgusting.
Through the bristles. Like not in a container, just like shove it, just scoop it through.
You say this, but I was clearing it up earlier, and I dropped some in my housemate's slippers, so that was fun.
Just give me the slipper. Perfect. Don't even need a plate.
And the good thing about it is it's a slider, so you can literally go like this. Tip it
Oh,
upside down.
no. Yeah, well, I'm a bloody brilliant chef. You heard it here first.
All right, Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah. So this week we are. Why did I even ask to fucking introduce it? Go on then, Alfred.
So, before we get on to our focus this week focus. I say that like it's a learning objective for a school classroom. It's not. The focus this week for the stories that we'll be telling is sort of funny, awkward childhood encounters and all those absurd things that happen. My voice just broke then to show childhood. It's still present here. Yeah, I'm still doing it.
Puberty, Alfred. Well done.
I've just done it. Yay! Finally, my balls will drop. Currently in my neck. That's how high up they are. So we before that, we wanted to ask you, Danny and Lucy, a little bit about your experience of doing stand up with Footnotes and do just comedy performance in general. Would you like to go ahead and give us a little rundown?
So hello, I'm Lucy. I came to uni knowing that I wanted to do stand up. Because my mum thought I was quite jokes. And so I did like fresh meat stand up and got quite a good response. And so I just kept doing it. And then in my second year, I was stand up director, same as you guys. So a lot more work than just doing stand up. You'll probably agree. And it was just super, super fun. I've had a great time doing stand up with Footnotes. So I said the word dicking on stage and that changed my life. And then I feel like that's what you need to know.
Danny, would you like to?
You just farted. I'm so nervous.
Well, just as I said.
And that is my experience with Footnotes.
How dare you?
Danny, would you like to tell us about your experience of doing stand-up at Footnotes and also performing in the wonderful Fringe shows?
I would love to, Alfred.
Just like there's Island Discs.
You preempted that like you were about to say, I'd love to, but I can't. And I'm wondering.
Shit time.
Yeah, I can't. It'll ruin it.
I actually had a really good time. That's a good start. But I basically, in first year, I spent like a lot of first year being like, well, I'm not ever going to get into anything in terms of performance. I was like, nah, it's not for me. But deep down, I always knew that I liked the tension. So I was like, do you know what would be good for me would be the Comedy Society. So I auditioned for the Fringe show in my first year, and I went in and I did a very inappropriate monologue, which cannot be discussed. But they loved it, and they were like, well, then you've got the role. So I got in, and then, while I was at Fringe, I was like, I want to do stand-up, because doing a sketch show is fun, but I'm part of a group here, and I'm ready to be the Nicole Scherzinger. Do you know what I mean? So I took my little step out, and in very Nicole Scherzinger style, I also did a lot of musical theatre. That's a lie! Why am I just lying on your podcast?
So you did musical theatre?
No, what I meant was theatre, but then I decided that musical theatre made me sound more exotic.
You do love musical theatre, though. Every time it's in the shower, I hear a different musical, and I'm like, loving it.
Oh, can you hear that?
Oh, what was that?
That is the drink timer.
What does that mean?
That's the loudest the drink timer has ever been.
It actually went off like 3 minutes ago, but I put it back on so people could hear it better. I will segue on to the next bit, right? So, fuck, sorry. So, right, now we are moving on to the story section of the podcast. And to remind everyone, if this week is on childhood stories and things of that nature.
The first thing that comes to mind when I think about like childhood stories is the fact that in primary school, you know, I was moderately bright, but I was like very, very, very unwise. Let's say back in like primary school, I was very easily manipulated. One of the funniest things I remember, I think it was year one, and we had these tiers of reading. I'm sure everyone did books from, say, you know, beginner level to the highest level. I got to the 7th tier, and I was just about to go on to the last tier, and a kid came up to me and said to me, "Oh, before you go on to the last tier, you have to read all the books in all of the other tiers again for a second time." And I was like, "Oh, that makes sense, child, because you're like 1 year older than me. Therefore, I massively trust you." So I took back like the most basic book to my house, and my mum was like, "What the fuck is that? What the fuck is like this story about a tractor?" I don't know. It was a red rum tractor, something or other, and I was like, "I was told I had to read all of them again." She's like, "You stupid little idiot. Go back and get."
Your mum sounds quite harsh.
This is in my impersonation. Yeah, everything
This is your
always ends
version of your mum.
I don't. To be honest, it's been a running theme of all of these stories is that I somehow managed to make them sound slightly dark or like not funny. Like the first one, what was like they always end up whenever I tell them. Everyone has always picks up on something and is like takes it really seriously.
I mean, like now I'm like, wow, your mum was abusive. That's me. Swearing at you.
Let's make it obvious that I'm playing it all up for the sense of the story. But no, so she was like, you know, don't be, you know, mistaken. Don't be bewitched by that other person who confused you and befuddled you. Go back and get a more advanced book. And I did, and I walked back and I got a higher level book. Another one, because that was quite short, that I was quite fun. But this was like little Alfred being very, very jammy. So everyone knows. Does everyone remember the moment when they were told that like that Father Christmas didn't exist or the Tooth Fairy didn't exist?
No, I figured that shit out for myself.
All right.
I can't remember what year it was. Maybe it was probably too late or too early. I can't remember. But we woke up in the morning and there'd been this palaver because my little brother had lost the tooth that had fallen out, like the last teeth that had fallen out. And my mum came up to me and you know, surreptitiously, she went, "I'm going to replace it with one of the other teeth that he's lost." So she'd kept all the little teeth that we'd lost. And I was like, "So you've got the teeth? What about the Tooth Fairy? Why doesn't the Tooth Fairy have the teeth? I thought the Tooth Fairy had the teeth. You're the Tooth Fairy?" And my mum was like, "I'm sorry, but yes." And I went, "The Tooth Fairy doesn't exist. I'm the greatest detective in the world. I'm Sherlock Holmes. Way."
I think it's so weird that parents collect teeth.
I've got a really joked story about teeth. Because, so, like, I think it was like last summer, I had like quite bad like wisdom tooth pain. And so like it got so bad that I went to like the dentist for like emergency appointment, and she was like on the day she was like, "We're taking your tooth out," and I was like, "All right." I was very brave. I let them do it. I let them inject it, take it out. I was very brave. I even walked home from the dentist, which yeah was 5 minutes away, but that's quite a lot when you better do that. And then I just kept it because I was like, "Oh, she's massive. She's huge." And then at Christmas we did bingo, and one of the prizes was my tooth. My wisdom tooth. And so now my Auntie Sarah has my wisdom tooth.
Oh, shit.
That is odd.
Envelopes with a tooth fairy on them and a child.
That's quite serial killer, isn't it? She just
Nah, it's quite jokes. She didn't choose to win the tooth. There were a few prizes. One of them was a bag of flour, and that was my mum's idea to represent
It's like
drugs.
the worst game of bingo ever, honestly.
Yeah, no offense, but that sounds shit.
No, it was quite jokes. Someone got a tenner. I got a tenner, actually.
Danny, would you like to tell us about your little childhood story?
Oh God. Okay. Yeah. I do think that looking back on childhood, I am now the same person that I was when I was 6, but I've just grown and unfortunately look very different now because I was quite jokes. Yeah, imagine I was still this big.
Yeah, and you're like,
I could carry you around. You know when you're in Audi and you get one of those trolleys with a kid seat and I just put you on and you'd be like, a bottle of gin, please.
I still had a degree and I
Like
want to
an
have
ID.
No, I am bigger now. For any men who are listening, I'm 6'1".
wow. Same.
I was just very much a child of the noughties who loved pop culture, just loved TV, had a good time. And one that came to mind was at Christmas in 2006, where Leona Lewis had just won the X Factor. I had made my parents vote, and they still remind me of this to this day. I made them vote for her 16 times.
Oh my God.
I loved her so much and was scared that she was going to lose to Ray Quinn. Obviously, she was never going to, but, the fear's there.
Yeah, but the 16 votes is the reason why she didn't lose to Ray Quinn.
Yeah. And my sisters loved her too. So it came to Christmas and we had our Christmas stockings. And Mum and Dad knew deep down they should have put the Leona CD in my stocking, but they were like, it would upset Han and Rage. They love her too. So to this day, we had a cat. She's dead now, bless her. But we had a cat
R.I.P.
who for about 10 years was the legal owner of a copy of A Moment Like This by Leona Lewis. She was called Cassie. She was such a little legend until she started shitting everywhere. Yeah, we loved a CD. I remember there was a time I went to, when you go to a car boot sale and buy like an illegally burnt copy of something?
Oh,
No.
Yeah. So I was about maybe like 10 at this point, and I went to one and bought a copy of The Fame by Lady Gaga, her first album.
Nice.
I mean, very on brand for me as a 10-year-old homosexual.
I thought you said
I am homosexual.
Homosexual. Red pepper, plain or sweet chili.
Red pepper.
Red pepper hummus.
nice.
Burning CDs was such a like mid 2000s mildly techie dad thing to do.
I was literally about to say my dad was like this. He once found like an iTunes, he found like an illegal downloading website and it was Russian and he was like, this is amazing. And he was like, it's legal. He was like, it's legal. And I was like, it's not, Dad, I'm really sorry. It's called Prostate Player. I don't know if it exists.
My dad downloaded onto a burnt CD all of the Star Wars films at the time. And if you know anything about like file size, this meant that the films ran at about like 12 pixels, basically. Like, the worst quality you could ever see. There was about like 3 different squares, 8 hours of film on essentially a small like home bought DVD. It was really, really shit.
We had a dodgy neighbour who used to burn things illegally for us, and we had a copy of Narnia on DVD, which about halfway through cut to the news, and we watched a few minutes of the news, and then got back to the wardrobe. Yeah.
Grandma would put like Babe Station on.
I have to say,
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, this isn't actually one of my stories, but with I think a lot of kids were guilty of this. Like we had like a TV upstairs that me and my brother used, and I would be like by myself for whatever reason, I don't know, and I'd just be like flicking through the channels, and I would like watch the time, and like it would get like to 11, and I'd be like, I'm gonna watch something, I don't know what, and then I literally out loud to no one be like, I'm gonna keep flicking through those channels. Oh, oops, there's Babe Station.
We've all found it accidentally.
Yeah,
accidentally, sure. Yeah, baby.
accidentally.
And they'd be like, "Oh my god, I accidentally
Babe
rang."
Station.
No, I didn't. I never called.
This is
but
so funny.
I did think about it.
I'm so glad this is like a common thing because I had a stand-up bit about a Babe Station written a while ago, and I put it away because I was like, I bet that's weird. I bet no one else like flicked through to like Babe Station and knows about that as a reference. But I'm glad to hear
Every Saturday. Every Saturday.
I remember I used to be privileged enough to have Sky TV as a youth, and I used to always know that if you put any number starting with 9, you were going to get some boobs.
Yes.
9 was the demonic channels. 9 was like all of the channels that no one wanted, like that were hidden away it was like the fucking, sacrificial channels, and then also Babe Station as well.
Is it still on, Babe Station?
I hope so. Don't Google it on my laptop. I try to Google with my mum. Do that.
Could do it.
Is Babe Station still on? Mum would be like, Lucy, what the fuck? Porn is free.
Apparently, the Babe Station channel closed on May 13th, 2020.
That's the worst thing to come from this year. Like, people have
Yeah.
literally died, but that's so fucking shit.
Surely that was the easiest thing to do over Zoom because it was just one person.
That's so true.
They could have
So
socially
easy to call.
distanced.
They've been practicing for so many years for this exact eventuality, and they fucked it.
I know. Very sad.
If I tweet RIP Babe Station, would anyone know?
I just feel like
We'll comment. We'll say, always remember.
when it's allowed, can we get together and try and restart Babe Station?
Me and April just with our tits out like this. Wee. Call this number.
Right, me
Call
and
this number.
If that has a name and it's called OnlyFans, I think it already is.
OnlyFans kill Babe Station. In this essay, I will.
The sequel to Video killed the radio star. OnlyFans killed Babe Station.
Rewrite the song.
OnlyFans killed the Babe Station.
That's stunning. I like that.
What a joke.
I would be on OnlyFans if I had confidence in my body. Because I love money. I love attention, as we discussed.
Wow,
So,
that should be
you
the
know.
perfect Venn diagram.
I'd be on OnlyFans if my youngest brother wasn't 19.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if he was like, oh, look. That would be terrible.
And he's sleeping.
April, would you like to finish your tale about Babe Station, please?
Oh, so that didn't have anything to do with my childhood story actually, but it kind of goes along a similar theme. I think I was quite like this is gonna make me sound like an absolute perv, but like as a child, very like I don't know how to phrase this, like sexually curious, I guess. Like as a kid, like I don't know how else to
I feel like sexually curious kid is not the best way to start this story, but keep going.
Yeah, no, you're right. Anyway, but so I remember I like fancied the pants off of this boy, like literally he was just everything, and he was one of my brother's friends, and I don't know if anyone went through a similar thing of like when they were younger that they would use like either swear words or reference, I don't know if like Lucy you found this, like being a girl, like referencing periods or anything like that in front of boys that you like, just to be like, oh, I know what that is, you know, like you know what I mean. So yeah. Okay, good. Not just me. And I was a bit like that with sexual references, I guess, and I was very, very young. I think I must have been about like 8 or 9, maybe even 10 yesterday, who knows. And I don't know if anyone knows the song Billy by James Blunt, and there's this song where one of the lyrics is, once there was another sleeping with another, now he's just known as a cheat or something. And I would literally sing that like chunk of lyrics over and over again.
That is the equivalent of It's Not Fair by Lily Allen in year 6. I'm lying in the wet patch. I was 11.
Yeah, literally. But I would sing this lyric over and over again and just like make eyes at him like, you know, a 10-year-old attempts to be sultry or whatever, just being like, yep, I know what that is. They're sleeping together and I know what that means.
My worst ever song-related faux pas was when I was in a primary school. I must have been about 8, and we were playing like karaoke, and I sang Like a Virgin by Madonna, thinking that I was the dog's bollocks. And I went through to my mum, and I was like, Mum, I must have been like 6 or 7. I was like, Mum, I've just sang this song. It's called Like a Virgin, but what is a virgin? And obviously I was way too young to know. So my mum was like, oh, well, a virgin is someone who has never shared a bed with anyone. Very diplomatic, very good, Carol.
Yes.
But I was like, oh, so because I've had a sleepover with my friends, I'm not a virgin. And she was like, yeah.
Oh, God. Danny wasn't a virgin.
So I went to school in year 2 and told all my friends that I wasn't a virgin. And they asked me what virgin I was, and I told them, and I was
sort of like this. No.
Yeah. Sex ed. Probably better sex education than you actually get in high school these days.
We had quite good sex ed, actually. We had like a week out, like 2 weeks out, explicitly for doing sex education. I think it's because
Really?
I went to an all boys secondary school though, so that's probably why they were like, we need to teach these kids. We need them to learn.
Yeah.
That's really good. I'm jealous.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
sex ed. Let's just quickly talk about sex ed. We're talking about childhood stories. Sex ed, my head teacher put a tampon in a jar of water, and that's all I saw. That was literally it. She was like, look at this, it gets bigger.
Oh, you know what? That's the same. That's the same as me.
And she
Yeah,
was like, you
and we
can't
put
go
a-
swimming with a pad on. That was literally it. 10 out of 10.
Put a condom on a cucumber though. That happened.
I didn't do that because I went to Catholic
Oh.
school, so they were really against
We had
contraception.
a
didn't have
dildo.
Same.
What?
It was like a what's
Do
the
you
word?
take it home?
Like a plasticky blue dildo.
Ours was like that and brown.
Oh, mine was blue.
You just had
I like.
two.
I know that sounds bad. Mr. Bolster, our chemistry teacher, whipped it out, and he was like a very strong Cockney, like old style Cockney, going. And this is how you fit a condom on a penis, all right? So you do it like this, and be careful, right, everyone? Be
Yourself.
careful.
Sex educated.
And here's a picture of some STDs. You don't want this, do ya? And we were like,
yeah,
no,
definitely got that.
I don't want that.
I feel like the worst thing about like PSE in school was that we spent so much time talking about like random things. Like we seemed to spend like 5 years talking about puberty, even though we were all like 16. But then like we didn't learn anything valuable. And even when there were valuable lessons, like they were always taught so badly. It was like, okay, boys, you need to leave the room because we're going to discuss like
Periods.
hygiene. And I was like, I want to know.
Do you want to hear something really bad, actually? One sex ed lesson in like year 10, the teacher was like, you know what, we're going to submit questions and I'm going to answer them. And one of the questions was, what is a rainbow kiss? And I was like, you know what it is? I don't know, you have to cut this, but I'll tell you. It's when a boy licks a girl her and then a guy her mouth. And she had to say that, and she wore blue eyeliner, and I was like, are you okay, hon? That's really hard. Yeah, it was gross. No offense, but like, just teach me how to shag.
Of weird shit. One of the students, we had a big Q&A at the end, I think, same. And one of the students literally like the dumbest fucking question ever was like, he said, he put his hand up and he went out loud in front of everyone in the year. Why is it okay for like a man to like another man, but not okay for someone to like a dead person?
That is shocking, Alfred. Someone said that.
Yeah. I genuinely don't think it was a joke because he said it was serious, and everyone was just went,
I'm sorry. He needs to be executed.
a homophobic necrophile. Fantastic.
Disgusting.
God. Absolutely. Before we move on to the next little bit, I do have one really small, tiny other story. When I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of like goes off of what you were saying, Danny, about like loving attention, because I'm also in that club of loving attention. When I in school, when I wasn't getting enough attention, I think it was like we were like doing PE or something, and you know, whatever, and it was like sunny, and I would rub sun cream in my eyes over and over again until like people noticed, like people were like, what's wrong? And I was like, I don't even know. Yeah.
Really?
Also, actually, that reminds me, like one of my friends actually had a similar story, that she wasn't getting that much attention. It was like, I think it was her sister's birthday or something, and they were like, you know, just in the bath as you did as a kid, and she wasn't getting enough attention, and she just picked up a bar of soap and just like bit a chunk out the side just so that she would get attention.
You know what? I love kids like that.
Yeah,
I love kids like that. That's why we all cut our hair as kids. We were like, attention, I want to be naughty.
The worst time my need for attention manifested itself was when I was in like my early teenage years, and it was at the height of Ask FM. Did you guys use it?
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I really don't ask him.
I used to send myself hate on it, and I used to send myself anonymous hate just because like I was quite quiet, so I never really got any hate. So I'd answer it and be like, "Oh, this is so mean." And then my friends would all message me like non-anonymous, being like, "Leave him alone, he's great." And I'd be like, "Thanks, guys, you're all really supportive."
What did some of your
Wow.
hate say to yourself?
I just used to call myself ugly, I think. I think I never used the G word because I was like, if I open that kind of worms, then that's dangerous.
Gangly, that's what you meant, obviously.
I used to go for skinny a lot, scrawny.
Your insults for yourself.
Yeah, I had like a little list. I'd be, which one today?
You're like big cunt.
Just in case you picked one and you actually got offended by your own insult, you read it out. You're like, oh, I can't write that. I'll actually be sad.
I don't know if you just heard that. That is the sound of the. Okay, it won't stop. Shut up.
Ooh. Ah.
So, moving on from the story time, now we are moving on to the games section of our show, which for the last 2 weeks has followed a quite similar routine. We've started with an accent and a quote, and then we've continued on with word association games. We thought we'd change it up because we've got 2 wonderful guests on today. So what we're doing today is that Danny and Lucy have both been given a celebrity by us, the hosts. Now, I've given Lucy a celebrity that April has to guess, and April has given Danny a celebrity that I have to guess. And the situation is going to be a little improv scene at a bar to keep with the vibe of SIP. This, continuous drinking montage and all that we're so invested in. I don't know why I said montage. That's probably the wrong, This is a section of the show which I am calling right now off of the top of my head. Who are you serving now? ?
I like that.
Yay! First up will be Lucy and April. So April will be running her bar, and Lucy will come in as the mystery celebrity, and April will have to guess who she is based upon what she... Off we go.
Hello.
So, hello. So, April, what have you baked for us this week? What have you baked for us this week?
Well, actually, this is a bar. So, what kind of drink would you like?
Kind of drink? Oh, it's tricky though. It's something that's got to go on with a bit of acid because I love acid. I think so. Yeah, I think a big part of my personality is being a big fan of acid and just all sorts of crazy shit. I'm quite a wild guy.
No fielding.
A funky guy.
Wow.
I was literally like so confused. I was like, why the hell are you asking about cooking? I'm at a bar. Do you not understand the bloody specification? Right, Danny, you're up.
Yeah. Well, hello there. Welcome to the Fisher's Arms.
Hello. Oh, hello there. I'm peering over the bar because I'm quite short and I'm not Irish, but for some reason I sound I'm quite short, but I'm American and I would like a magical emporium-based drink.
What particular emporium would you like to partake in? You short fellow. Would you like a stool? Or would you like
repeat that, sir?
And what kind of emporium are you looking for, my friend?
I was making the wrong reference to a film.
Are you sure you haven't already had enough, sir? Would you like to have a seat? If you continue to be raucous, we might have to escort you from the establishment.
I've got a reference that I know that you'll get. I'm gonna go. Nobody can dance like you.
I know who it is.
I have a joke shop in this film, and I've got a daughter who dances on a show, and she's a bit larger than life, but she's great, and I love her. And
wow,
her
that's
amazing.
Crazy, John Travolta.
It's so close.
I'm married.
You're married to John Travolta. Oh,
I wish.
Wow, fantastic. Well, I have a drink for you here, Mr. Danny DeVito. No.
I don't know what this man sounds like, Alfred. I'm sorry, but you're on the right
Full
track.
disclosure. Is it like, think of the
Yeah.
film?
How about I just spray my hair?
Yeah, Zac Efron, hairspray.
Oh yeah, but I'm married to John Travolta.
Right film.
Oh,
I'm gonna go walk out if you don't give me a drink.
yes. Christopher Walken, I shall present you with a pint now.
My first reference.
Hairspray.
I for some reason convinced myself that Christopher Walken. No, shush. I convinced myself that Christopher Walken was in Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium. Who is
Dustin Hoffman.
Yes. Oh my God.
Why you guess?
I thought that's such an obscure actor to do an impression of.
Yeah, when he was like, when you said like, I want from an Emporium, I was like, oh, is that like the Sunny Delight or whatever Danny DeVito has? What does Danny DeVito have in Sunny with a Chance of Philadelphia? I mean, the other way around. What's the?
It's always sunny in Philadelphia.
I think I combine Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs with Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That was a good guessing and game section, though. I like.
I was happy with Christopher Walken, but I'd have been happier with Nicola Sturgeon or Jennifer Cooper. I'm not doing it.
Do it. Do it.
Oh, really?
TJ.
Yeah.
Jennifer Coolidge just goes like, "You look like the 4th of July." She's very distinctive though, so I feel like anyone can do that if they try hard enough.
And now that we're done with the game section of SIP the podcast, unfortunately, we have come to the end of SIP for another fortnight. Tune in the next 2 weeks. I know Danny and Lucy hopefully have enjoyed being with us. We've enjoyed having them on.
It's been so fantastic to have you guys on.
Next week, we'll be back with some more fantastic guests. In the meantime, keep dancing. No, it's okay. You don't need to.
This is a very bizarre sign-off.
2, 1. Thanks for having us.
And with that wonderfully coordinated sign off from Danny and Lucy, it's goodbye from me, Alfred.
It's goodbye from me, April.
And it's goodbye from us. Love you.
And then we all do a big sip.
Oh, so refreshing.
Oh, fuck, I just spilled the drink on my laptop. Shit.